NYYST. This is New York, Yankee sports talk. Swinging for the fences, knock it out the park. This is New York, Yankee sports talk. Christian and Chris, of course SGR. This is New York, Yankee sports talk. Homie, New York, Yankee sports talk. Record, rain or shine, grab your shades and umbrellas. NYYST, you're hanging with the fellas.
Oh, welcome back. This is episode 408 of the NYYST podcast. We're live here on NYY Underground. I'm your host, Christian. As always, joined with my co-host, Chris.
You.
And SGR.
Okay.
Just get it all out of the way. And
No, you calm down.
I
okay?
can't, dude.
You relax yourself.
I'm
all right?
relaxed.
Yeah, Chris, it's time to start breathing a little bit. Maybe take some breathing exercises. Picture a triangle. You're going to breathe in for 3, hold it for 3, and then breathe out for 3.
We are going to start banging.
Go ask your doctor for some alprazolam. Relax yourself, all right? Okay?
Doctor, go out yourself.
Yeah, I'm getting a little worried now, Chris.
Okay, so it's going to be a fun episode here as the Yankees just got embarrassed by the New York Mets past couple days here. They got swept. They what was the final last night? 12-3, I think.
3, yeah, they scored one in the end there.
I just even I have my limits of what I can watch, and I had to turn the game off at I think I even turned the game off at 6-2, and they had a chance to score maybe, and they didn't. And then by the time I got upstairs, it was like that fire on Route 3 the other day. That's exactly what happened to the Yankees. And the next thing I knew, it was like 10-2.
Yeah,
So
because it started as just like a, regular fire, and then the whole thing exploded.
That's what it
Actually.
felt like. It felt like a
Ghastly.
goddamn explosion on the mound. I was like, how did this happen so fast? We literally let the dog out the piss, came upstairs to turn the TV on, and like 5 runs had scored in like 6 minutes. It was crazy. But there's a lot to talk about here. And the way I want to navigate the show is we obviously have to talk about Aaron Boone, because I think that's the most important thing to talk about, more so than the team's play this week. Although we have to bring up the Garrett Cole's performance and how bad it was, and if we need to be worried about it. But I don't want to spend an hour destroying Aaron Boone and just yelling and ranting about how piss poor of a manager he is. We need to have a civilized conversation and try to work through this instead of just freaking out. And then by the time we turn around, we did this for an hour. Okay. Can we do that?
Yes.
Okay. So, but before we do that, please make sure you are subscribed to the NYYST podcast. We are available on your favorite podcast platform. While you're there, please leave us a 5-star rating and review. And please make sure you're telling everybody the NYYST podcast is the official Yankee podcast of Odyssey. And since we're live here tonight on NYYU, hit the like button and make sure you're subscribed. We hit 30,900 subscribers right before we signed on here. So let's see if we can pick up another 100 subscribers, hit 31K before the show wraps up here tonight. Okay?
Okay.
Sound good?
Okay. Sounds great. Okay. I like that. Okay.
So we've spent enough time on this show explaining why Aaron Boone needs to be fired and getting very emotional about it. And like I said, I don't want to go there per se tonight, but I think, as Ryan has put it, and I love the way that Ryan put this on a show a couple episodes ago when we were kind of breaking down performances of the players and even Boone throughout the first half of the season, is that Aaron Boone's noticeable now. When the Yankees were winning, he wasn't noticeable. He just hit in the corner. We got consistent lineups every night. It seemed like the bullpen guy, when he went to the bullpen, it worked. Boom. Now they're losing, and you're noticing things that are not good about him. And I want to start here because Tuesday night, the Yankees deserve to lose the game on Tuesday night. That lineup is a non-competitive lineup. That lineup is a lineup of a team that does not take games seriously. That is a lineup of a team that thinks that no matter what they do, they're going to go to the postseason, that they have no further ambition of winning a division versus 1 wild card, 2 wild card, or 3 wild card. Just get in and whatever happens after that point happens. That's the type of lineup that the Yankees put out onto the field on Tuesday night. And credit to Luis Heel, who battled, stayed in the game, pitched relatively well. You know, Tonkin got nicked for that 2-run home run, which was ultimately the deciding factor in that game. Other than that, the bullpen was still pretty good. Luke Weaver had one of the ballsiest performances of the year for anybody that has taken the mound for the Yankees so far this year. But ultimately, it comes down to that the Yankees did not score runs. They lost 3-2. They had opportunities to try to win the game. And look, I don't want to necessarily make a big deal about Austin Wells not being in the lineup, right? Because the Yankees are not going to run their catchers into the ground. And Austin Wells started all 4 games coming out of the All-Star break. And he being Boone, pronouns pal, wanted Wells to catch Garrett Cole on Wednesday night. So I figured coming into this series somewhere along the way, Wells was going to get a game, especially that he didn't sit any of the games against Tampa. But you still have to take into account that it was part of the thought process of Aaron Boone, that he wanted to put 3 more right-handed batters into the lineup, right? So he landed on Jahmai Jones leading off as the DH, JD Davis, who hadn't played since July 4th, as the cleanup hitter, and then I think Narvaez was slotted somewhere like 7 or 8. I don't remember. Oh, I actually have it in front of me. No,
he was 8th, I think.
He was 8th. Okay, but I have some stats for you guys if you want to hear them here.
Please.
So these 3 guys that had to be in the lineup because who was pitching for the Mets? I can't remember his name. Quintana, who I understand that it's a smaller sample size, but left-handed batters had a higher average and higher OPS against Quintana than right-handed batters did.
Solid.
Okay, just wanted to throw that out there.
Major league lefties might have, maybe.
Okay, so these 3 guys proceeded to go 0 for 8. They struck out 6 times. 2 of the strikeouts occurred with runners in scoring position, and we remember when Davis banged into that double play. So that is what Aaron Boone thought was a winning formula. And I want to start here because I tweet, save your hot takes because I know they're coming. And what I meant by that is everybody was, not everybody, but a good portion of people were throwing Aaron Judge under the bus because he struck out in the 9th inning, which we'll get to because I want to break down that at bat there because I think it's important. But Aaron Judge wasn't to blame for the Yankees losing. It was another man with the first name of Aaron, and it was Aaron Boone, because that was Aaron Boone's doing. He put those guys in a lineup. He put one of them in front of Soto and the other one behind Aaron Judge, and that's what they turned out on Tuesday night, correct? Okay? And I'm getting reply after reply after reply. You're stupid. He doesn't make the lineup. People were reading my bio. How do you have a Yankee podcast and don't know that Aaron Boone doesn't make the lineups? Okay. First of all, I'm going to say this. Number one, who has repeatedly gone on record and said that the lineup card is his? Who has
Aaron
said
Boone.
that? So when you say that, who deserves the blame for the 9 names that are written in that lineup?
Regardless of who actually writes it, when you're publicly taking accountability, it is you who deserves the blame or credit.
Period. End the sentence right there. If Aaron Boone wants to go out there and tell you he's not a puppet, it's up to him, fine. That's his lineup. He's the one that put it out there. It's his fault the Yankees lost the game on Tuesday night. In what world, honestly, did somebody think that it was a good idea to bat Jahmai Jones and JD Davis as the protection for Juan Soto and Aaron Judge? Tell me, what universe are we living in that was a good idea? And then to further that, right, before yesterday's game, Aaron Boone had the balls to say that JD Davis had been playing well recently. He used the word recently. after this guy struck out twice and grounded into a double play the day before, and he had not played previous to that since July 4th when he struck out in his own at-bat, in his only at-bat. So, guys, when we tell you that Aaron Boone is the problem, this is what we are talking about. He doesn't even know what he is talking about when he tells you that J.D. Davis had played well recently as to why he was back in the lineup on Wednesday. And when you put out the lineup, that is you saying, I am the master of the lineup. It's my lineup card. I control it. You deserve the blame for it. It's just that plain and simple. And I also want to say this. If it is a collaborative effort, speak up. You're a baseball guy, bro. That's a term you threw around. Your granddad, your dad, your brother, you all played in the major leagues. You don't mean to tell me you don't think if somebody came to you with that and said, here, you don't look at that and said, no, what are you, stupid? If that was the case, let's say that is the case. Somebody walked downstairs with their glasses in their pocket protector and said, here, you don't look at that and say, no?
I mean, if you're the baseball guy that you claim you are, why would you even want? Why wouldn't you just take the risk of fighting it, and instead of tarnishing your reputation? I mean, at this point, who wants Aaron Boone leading their team? Who still sits there and says Aaron Boone's a great baseball guy? No one. He's ruined himself. Why would you let that happen? Yeah. Why not? I would risk being fired at that point if I didn't have, and I'm not saying he's not a puppet in so many ways. I mean, of course he is.
Right.
More so, I'd say behind the scenes than anything else.
But he has talked about it countless times that he does have a major say in the final decisions of the lineup. There's quotes out there. You could look up his thought process. What he would do is maybe talk to his hitting coach. They'd gather 10 guys. They'd pick from there. Maybe they'd figure out who has a day off tomorrow. What's the matchup looking like against a lefty, against a righty? There's a bunch of different quotes out there. If you want to look up Aaron Boone and lineup, just look up from a couple years ago and you'll find a bunch of different things. I mean, you talk about a guy making decisions that are noticeable. The most noticeable one of all in this Mets series, that you talk about a team not being serious. How can a team be considered serious when they're batting a guy cleanup that was DFA'd by the Oakland Athletics? That was cut by the worst team, one of the worst teams in baseball of the last 3 to 4 years. You're going to start this guy for the New York Yankees in your 4-hole.
So we got a super chat from Mark Ferraro. Thanks, Mark. He says, great job, guys. Don't forget, it's right in front of us. And I don't know if you guys caught it today. Somebody put on, you saw it, of all the
montage.
The montage of him one right after another saying it's right in front of us.
It was great.
So
it was just Aaron Boone. You know the clip of all the anchors, like news anchors, saying
dude, that's exactly what I was thinking. This is a threat to our democracy. Yeah, it is right in front of us.
It was literally him just saying it over and over.
It's right in front of us. It is right in front of us.
And you could have probably, if you really sat there and researched, you probably could have pulled out at least another dozen times that he said it. But here we got another one before we get into that. Connor O'Neill with the super chat. If we have major league players that can't hit lefties, why are they here? That's my problem. Like, they play in the majors, the hardest sport to get here. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. If you're J.D. Davis and you're not hitting against lefties, what purpose do you serve being on the Yankees? And I said this when they signed Davis. I don't have a problem with the Yankees kicking the tires on somebody. I really don't, because if you can catch lightning in the bottle, we saw it happen with guys like Mark, I don't know why I wanted to call him Mark. Matt Carpenter, and even Cameron Maben to a degree, and a guy like Mike Tauchman. We've seen the Yankees, Luke Voigt although he had a great 2020 still, but he had that lightning in a bottle in
Gio Urshela.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with it. If it catches, it works fine. If not, you got to learn to cut bait on that. And they haven't done that. Instead, they've kept him around. And now in a situation where they needed to win a baseball game, he's batting cleanup. And Aaron Judge walked 4 times in Tuesday's game. And then in the ninth inning, they actually went at him. And I want to talk about that for a quick second because the first pitch of the at bat was pretty center cut. It was a pretty routine fastball in the sense that it was right there for him if he wanted it.
Can I just stop you there? It was actually one of the smartest pitches, and that's exactly why. The fuck's the manager?
Mendoza.
Is it Mendoza, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly why Mendoza went out there. It wasn't, are we pitching to this guy or not? It was, you're throwing a fastball right down the plate. Because I'm telling you right now, Judge is up there, and that first pitch is going to determine how the rest of the at-bat goes.
Well, that's what I want to talk to you about here. Pitch is right there. But he, after being walked 4 times, he's not in swing mode.
They knew he wasn't going to swing. That's exactly what I'm saying. It was one of the smartest things I've seen a team do. You know Aaron Judge isn't swinging because that first pitch is literally dictating whether or not you're going to have a competitive at-bat.
And then look, Diekman
And you can't risk
go ahead.
swinging.
And
You
Diekman
just can't. Yeah, sorry.
And then Diekman made the pitch of his life on the inside corner to strike him out. I mean, he'll
Yes.
never throw a pitch that good again in his life.
Never.
So, but once you've been walked 4 times, you have to you have to take that pitch if you're Aaron Judge.
I'm telling you, that's exactly why they threw it right down the plate. It
But
was
let me ask you this, dude. Do you fault Aaron Judge for not swinging at it?
no. That's the smart baseball decision. That's why I'm telling you, Mendoza, who, you know, in a lot of these like big series, you always want to beat the Mets, you want to beat the Red Sox, whether they're good or not. You want to beat the Orioles now. It seems like in all of these series, there's one constant in any of these big nationally televised
What's that?
series.
Aaron Boone gets outmanaged.
Aaron Boone gets outmanaged over and over. It just, I can say it with every series. And Mendoza outmanaged Aaron Boone because he knew, I want to talk baseball guy, he knew that Aaron Judge, as a smart baseball player, we talk about baseball IQ, he's going up there and he absolutely has to take the first pitch. If it's a slider in the dirt or on the outside part of the plate, you know that they're not really going to go after you. It's a statement pitch. He can't risk swinging at a slider in the dirt. And then if you're thinking fastball down the plate, you're an idiot. Because why would any team in their right mind pitch to you? Right? So you have to think those two things. And then they get ahead. And that's the last part of it is now you're getting ahead right off the bat. Now you're in control. No, Aaron Judge not swinging was the smart decision. What happened from there on out was that he got beat. He got beat by good pitches. He got beat by a couple not so good pitches. And he should have done damage. And I do hold him accountable in certain ways, but I'm sure we'll get to that. But to answer your question, it would have been absolutely idiotic if he's going up there with an approach that he's swinging at the first pitch.
No, and I agree with that. He has to see how the Mets are going to dictate the at bat. And yes, you want him to come through there, but then all the hot takes start coming in is that he's a bum, he can't hit in the big spot. And I wish that I could. I don't know how to find these things. I really don't. I've looked. I don't know if you need a subscription to them, but people are on social. He's never had a big hit in his life. Never.
That's, first of all, that's false. And I'm going to be the one who kind of gets on his back a little bit here, not in the way you think. But let me just kind of lay this scenario out there, right? Would you say in that situation, if you're Aaron Judge, would you say it's more likely that they pitch around you or more likely that they pitch to you based on your previous at-bats?
Considering that I'm the only one left in his lineup that has a
Correct.
chance to do anything, and I've been walked 4 times already today, I'm not expecting to see anything.
Okay, which would be the smart mindset. Now, if that's your mindset, the correct one, and he throws you a slider or something nasty that you can't do damage with, and you're swinging at the first pitch, what does that do immediately? It either you're hitting the ball weak and not doing what you're up there to do, or you're putting the pitcher ahead anyway. You're
Well-
not going up there saying it's going to be a fastball right down the plate.
Gleyber Torres is swinging no matter what.
Well, that's the difference between. You know what? If it was Gleyber Torres, it might have worked out for him. Honestly,
He's got the Justin Timberlake hair. Did you see that?
Yeah.
yeah, it's great. Actually,
He's got a couple
it's
home
working.
runs.
It's working
Hey.
for him.
Do what you got to do.
Not that they've meant anything, but
Hey, he's been some of their only offense.
look, this is the problem that I have right now is that, look, I get it. Everybody's frustrated, but let's not take it out on Aaron Judge. I understand we all want him to come through there. I don't like when the fans are directing their anger towards the wrong people. There's a lot of people to be angry at in this organization and that get put on the field. Just because Aaron Judge got beat in that situation really isn't. It's not. I don't know, man. I look. You want to. I don't want to tell people how to fan, but I'm just saying it's not that your anger doesn't belong there, because I don't know if you tweeted it or you said it on
I
the
tweeted
episode.
it, yeah.
This guy is put in a position where he has to have the Superman cape on 24/7, and I get it. He's the captain. He got the big contract. He's the MVP. But it's still baseball. 8 other guys are in that lineup. Somebody has to fucking help out. And I get it. Soto's doing his part too, but you can't just look at Aaron. I likened it to, everybody's seen Dodgeball except for Chris, right?
I've seen it.
I hate it. It sucks. Hate it.
No, I didn't
It's
hate
alright.
it. I just don't think
Don't
it's
remember
as good
it.
as everyone thinks it is.
I don't know if it's aged as
I
well.
love dodgeball.
But anyway, so the whole team looked up to, I forget his name in the movie, but everybody looked up to Vince Vaughn and they were like, do you remember what his name was in the movie, Ryan?
I'll fucking look at Frank.
No, that's
Old school.
and that's Will Ferrell, I think. Frank
Yeah.
the Tank.
Let's see. In dodgeball, we're looking for Vince Vaughn's character's name, Peter LaFleur.
I thought it was Pete.
I
For
should
some. I was
just
gonna
banged it out.
should have just banged it up. But they're like, hey Pete, what are we gonna do? Pete, what are we gonna do? Pete. And then finally Vince Vaughn just like fucking chokes Steve the Pirate and tells him to stop being a fucking freak. Like that's what like I'm watching the Yankees and I feel like that's it. Like they're Aaron, and then finally like he's just gonna fucking grab Gleyber by the throat and said, "Stop fucking frosting your hair. It's not 1999 and you're not in a boy band."
You fucking remember Steve the Pirate's name. Remember that character, though? He, like, ends up leaving.
Yeah, and then he becomes like an
He's not
accountant.
a pirate anymore. Yeah, he changes his whole identity.
How could you forget Steve the Pirate?
Yeah.
And then remember he was the racist manager in the Jackie Robinson movie.
Yes.
He's the one yelling the N-word the whole time. And
Really?
yeah,
Yeah.
he's
Top step of the dugout.
he's like, hey, and I'm like, that's Steve the Pirate.
Connor O'Neill, super chat. Thank you again. He said, would you ever bet Judge lead off until Stanton or Dominguez come back so they have to pitch to him?
Who was announcing last night?
Carl Ravitch and
And that asshole.
Eduardo
Yeah.
Perez.
Oh,
Eduardo
I
Perez. He
can't
suggested
stand
to
him.
have Judge lead off.
Second.
I like.
Oh, yeah.
No, he was saying lead off towards
Right.
the end of the game.
Right.
I like Christians. If there's anyone that I would out of the two of them, it wouldn't be Judge. I'd put Soto at leadoff. But even that, I'd rather they go out and get an actual leadoff hitter. But
Well,
Soto's on base. I'd rather just move them both up a slot.
do you consider this is that batting Judge swapping Judge and Soto this way? Judge at least has protection now.
Yeah, I would definitely consider that over batting Judge leadoff because Soto doesn't need protection. His eyes are his own protection. He doesn't really need anybody helping him.
Yeah, I don't know. The Yankees have to figure something out here because until Jason and this was crazy too because we were hearing that Dominguez might not be available to them all off for the rest of the regular season, and he's probably going on rehabs next week.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if the Yankees can get Dominguez and Stanton in this lineup,
completely different lineup.
do you think they still need to go out and get offensive help
Yes.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
need a corner infielder,
They
but
need
But they
Yeah.
will now not. They'll have an excuse of now. Well, hey, look, now we have a new leadoff hitter and we have our cleanup hitter back.
But here's the thing: is that a lot of the guys the Yankees are quote linked to are second basemen.
Yeah,
Okay.
but maybe you start to get creative.
I don't know. Can Jonathan India play third base? Because he's a guy that I'm hearing a lot of buzz about the Yankees, and honestly, he's a leadoff hitter. This guy would solve a lot of problems for the Yankees on the offensive side of the ball. Problem is he's primarily a second baseman, and I'm not saying any because of Glaber. I'm just saying, can you live with Glaber and then figure that your bigger area of concern is on the corners, as opposed to replacing Glaber
And still having holes on
and still having
holes.
holes on the corners.
Yeah, honestly, this team's been so bad that I'm actually going to say this sentence. I'd rather keep Glaber and replace the corners. I mean, but it's India. I mean, that's the problem here. It's
Yeah,
like
but-
adding a guy to that lineup. You got to do it if you can.
And just to touch on India in the offseason coming into this year, the plan was to have him go multiple positions. I don't know why that changed, but they were supposed to
Yeah,
have
I looked it up
an
today.
infielder,
He
Matt
has-
McLean, was
has
supposed
only-
to play. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I looked it up today just to make sure, and he has only played second base this year. And somebody mentioned Birdie in the chat, and I think he had another setback. He was supposed to go on rehabs, and he had a setback here. So I don't know, man. Like if you look at, let's say that the Yankees do this, they get Dominguez, they get Stanton back healthy for the rest of the year. They go and acquire a guy like Jonathan India, and then Birdie comes back healthy, and he plays third base. I mean, you probably in that situation have just shipped out Glaber just to get him out of here at
Yeah.
that point. But this is a completely different offensive team, and one that I think can do a lot of damage, right? Would you
Yeah.
say that? Do you feel a lot better about the team in that situation?
Well-
if that's the lineup?
Well, yeah, and I want to touch on a couple things as I answer that question, because I just want to go back to Judge real quick. Judge has to come through there. You're the captain. I don't care that. And again, I tweeted this. The Yankees have put Judge in a position where the only time he can expect to win is if he comes through 100% of the time. If he's the hero 100% of the time. That's the only time he can expect to win at this point. It's not putting down Soto by any means. Of course, he's been amazing. But it seems like Judge. What's up, Ray?
No, I'm just. Are you saying that you feel he should have came through there? Because you made such a great point before.
No. I'm saying, of course, he has to come through there.
Okay.
He's expected to. He's the captain, and he's in my opinion, the most dangerous player in baseball. You have to come through there. You have to take that fastball right down the middle, and then you need to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I'm blaming the Yankees for putting him in this position, but also he's here. This is the position that the team that you committed to is putting you in. It is your responsibility to be a leader on and off the field, and you have to come through there. As unfair as that might sound, it is 100% true. Now, that being said, I wasn't sitting there flipping out and saying, Judge sucks. He never comes through in big spots. Yes, he does. Yes, he fucking does. And you know what? With what this guy has done for this team, year in and year out, when he's on the field, he has carried them. Carried them. It might not feel like it's always a big spot, but it's the spot. It's sometimes the only spot, because this guy is literally sometimes carrying the entire team on his back for an entire game, for an entire series,
Season for an
for
entire
seasons,
season.
for seasons. So don't give me that garbage. Yes, you can be frustrated. Now, let's talk
I
about.
remember 2022. The Yankees won games 1-0, and it was on an Aaron Judge home run.
That's what I mean.
Okay.
So you want to talk big spot? He was the spot. He was the only spot. If without him, you probably lose 10 more games.
There is no spot.
Yeah, there's no spot at all. Doesn't mean you can't expect him to come through. He should have.
No, he
needed
should
to.
have. He should have. But in that the way you broke that down, when you think about the pitches he saw in getting up to that at bat, and the roster construction being a part of that, of the fact that why is he not seeing any pitches? Because there's no one else for him to help him out.
That's it.
And that's such a great point, and you just can't use that as as a valid proof for him
So-
not being clutch.
Hey, hold on a second. Rick in the chat. Rick V, you believe in Joe Hendry?
Who's Joe Hendry?
Don't worry about it, all right?
Okay. So now
Just
back.
asking Rick in the chat if he believes in Joe
Okay.
Hendry.
So back to what we're talking about here. Let's just start with Giancarlo Stanton before we get into anyone they're going to bring in. Everyone's saying, oh, now you see how valuable Giancarlo Stanton is. This guy's valuable even when he's not necessarily tearing the cover off the ball.
He'd be hitting 190 and he can
And he's
provide
still-
Aaron Judge the protection that he needs.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
all the
And
time,
we
man.
talk about the scary names, even when, look, Anthony Rizzo could be a piece of garbage, but he's very valuable because his name is Anthony Rizzo, and he's a lefty hitter at Yankee Stadium, and pitchers know the name. And just seeing him up there changes how a pitcher approaches the lineup. It gives it depth. Not having Giancarlo Stanton hurts for two reasons. One, because he's having a great year, and two, whether he was or wasn't, he's still a danger to a pitcher at any time, and that was protecting Aaron Judge. Now, we talk about adding a guy. So let's just talk, we were saying India, right? Not only India as alone can be deadly to a lineup, but now you're adding him for more depth after Stanton, or, you know, maybe they hit him after Judge, who knows, and then Stanton, I don't know. But just at this point, the Yankees have to, one, pray Stanton comes back and can stay healthy the rest of the way, and then you keep adding that depth. India would be, at that point, I mean, a game changer to this lineup. Game changer.
Yeah, guys, we know Rizzo's cooked. Thanks for reminding us.
Yeah,
I mean,
we-
that's just
dude.
it's just a point that we're trying to make here is that when Rizzo's in the lineup, it adds name value that pitchers can respect the history of what he's done in baseball.
You know
and
who
not
they don't respect? You know who pitchers don't respect?
JD Davis.
Yep.
Jahmai
You know who
Jones?
else? You know who else? Come on, keep going.
Who else? Tell me.
DJ LeMahieu.
They certainly don't respect him.
You know who else they really don't respect much anymore, but maybe they will start to a little because he had a couple home runs? Gleyber Torres.
No, they don't respect him.
You know who else they don't really respect at all? Trent Grisham.
And we talked about that. Even though Grisham's overall numbers have improved as he's gotten more playing time, it's just you look at his name in the lineup and it doesn't inspire confidence in you.
This whole team's clearly pressing, man. And pitchers are pressing when they look at that lineup just as much as we get frustrated.
So speaking of pitching, before we get into more trade deadline stuff, I mean, is there anything else really? Are we done with Aaron Boone now? Can we move past that? Or do you have anything really else you want to talk about?
No, I did.
regarding
I wanted to just touch on a couple things with Boone. At this point in time, I'm just, what more can here? I guess here's a good question. What more do we expect out of him at this point?
Nothing. This is what it is. Actually,
Right.
you know what? While we're on the subject, Pete, in the control room, can you play that quote, that sound bite from Aaron Boone's post-game press conference yesterday, please?
At what point is it not a poor stretch?
I'm not defining. That's it. We got to play better. Okay? We have it right in front of us. We're a really good team that has played of late. We need to be better. I'm not going to define stretch this or that. We got to go win, right? And we're right there. You know, we're watching, other teams struggle around us. We know we got to be better. Okay? We got to, we're pissed off in there. We got a lot of pride in there. We have a lot of expectation in there. So stretch, slump, recent, I don't give a it's we got to play better the rest of the way.
All right, here's what I wanted. take this right now, right? First of all, you want to anybody that thinks it's a fake tough guy act, I'm not going to disagree with you because it's Aaron Boone, right? But that actually sounded like a guy that sh showed some emotion, that he finally let his guard down and spoke to you honestly and truthfully about how the team is performing and that it does bother him and that it is unacceptable. And that's the guy we've been wanting to hear for 3 weeks now, right? And then what does he do 10 minutes later?
He goes, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry for saying a bad word. I'm sorry.
I said
Not even
poopy.
And not even that, he went out there and said, you know what, guys, I should act more professionally in these situations. I shouldn't have.
What?
Oh,
He said,
Know all that.
fuck you.
he said, I'm sorry for using the S word. I'm sorry for using the S word.
Look,
Called
Like
it
when
the
your
S
6-year-old, when your 6-year-old hears you curse and go, Mommy, Daddy said the F word. That's what it's that. And then you're just back to the fucking cuck puppet of just loser mentality of Aaron Boone. Just walk off. We as fans can appreciate the transparency and the honesty that you finally went out there and said something that we can all agree with, and that it is bullshit and you have to play better and we're pissed off in there and we know we have to do better, right? And you could hear it in his voice. And then I'm sorry for saying the S word.
And does he know what the term of late means? Because
yeah,
he's saying like we've been
yeah.
playing bad of late. JD Davis has been swinging good of late. Like
They're
both
like
of those,
tied for the worst record in baseball since like May.
yeah,
Fucking
this isn't of late anymore.
yeah, it's crazy. But so let me just say one thing, and I think even Pete said this, so I'm talking to you too. It's not an act. It's not, and I'll tell you why. Answer this question. Would you say Aaron Boone is more delusional or more of a phony? Which one?
Uh,
You
I
have
think
to
he's
pick one.
if
he's
de-
delusional. I think
or
he's more.
phony,
I think he's more. That's a tough.
I think he's more phony.
Really?
To the public eye, I would say he's phony.
Yeah,
Okay, so if the
no,
answer is
I think
phony,
I think
Oh,
oh
dude,
man,
that's tough, man.
that is a tough one. It really
Does he
is.
really believe what he's saying?
so if
That's
it's
the key.
phony, then
No, I don't. Honest to God, I think it's. I'm with Ron. I think it's phony, man. Because
Okay.
there's no way he can believe that. He
Okay.
can believe it.
All
There's
right.
no
So
way.
then, so hold on then. So then we can't call Boone stupid, right? He's not delusional. He's just a phony. He's fake. Maybe he is the puppet that.
It better be phoniness.
It's no. Well,
What
I'll
would
say
you
this.
rather it be?
Because
He's stupid for that lineup that he put out there on Tuesday, but the words that are coming out of his mouth, I I don't believe he really believes them. I honestly don't believe that
so then it's fine for you to believe that that's an act. See, I'm under the impression that Aaron Boone, because there's no way a grown man who has a reputation on the line and who truly wants to win can say the things that he says and do the things that he does.
But here's the point about look, okay, he apologized for cursing, which is fine. You can I'm not even mad at that. It's just the way that he said it. And it just goes back to that mentality that he brings into this clubhouse. Like it's okay
Like,
to
no,
be,
be raw
it's okay to be mad.
and
it's
raw
okay.
and your true emotion.
Like turn the filter off for once.
So, I mean,
Look.
I'm under the impression he's a phony, and therefore, I mean that he's delusional, and therefore that's not an act to me. I think he's just frustrated because he keeps saying things that he thinks are going to happen and they're not, and he's just naturally frustrated.
See, I used the line of demarcation as June 13th when Clay Holmes blew that game in Kansas City, but a lot of people are using June 15th because they actually came back the next night and won. So I'm saying that because I'm picked this up from MLB Network earlier today, and they used it from June 15th. The Yankees have the second worst record in baseball in that span, having lost 22 of 32 games. Okay. They have allowed the most home runs in baseball during that time period, 58. They have the second highest. I don't even know how this is fucking possible. The second highest team ERA at 5.30. They have the highest starters ERA at 6 flat, and they have committed the second most errors in baseball with 25 during that time period.
My God.
From the best, literally a team that was ranked #1 in the power rankings, and now those are the stats you're throwing out there.
It's Ra with the super chat. I remember
Ra.
Stanton is older. He says, remember Stanton is older and hurt again. As much as he is a threat, we do have to. Do we have confidence that he's going to play out the rest of the season? Same goes for Birdie, older player with a calf injury. No, I mean, look, we talked about that. Not Boone. Cashman was a dick for what he said about Stanton, but he was also correct in saying it.
Yep.
And I think last year, I said it. It's okay. Like, I'm not going to argue with anybody anymore to cause this guy injury prone. Like, it's just going to happen. It's as Cashman said, it's part of his game. It's who he is. I mean, we were lucky that it lasted as long as it did this year, right? He got hurt in April last year. At least we got him into June this year. So I mean, you just take what you can get out of him. And yeah, the Yankees need a more reliable cleanup hitter. How the Yankees have the worst OPS out of the cleanup spot in baseball is unfathomable to me.
Yeah, it's bad. So just to finish my point on Boone, I just don't see what more you're getting out of him at this point. And it's an obvious statement, but whether he's the ultimate cause for all of this or not, which we all agree he's not, somebody, to keep everyone sane, somebody has to be held accountable. And here's the problem for the Yankees front office right now. And I think it's part of the reason why they do keep him around. So I guess it's really not that much of a problem for them right now, other than the fans calling for Boone's head. But as long as Boone is there, we can continue to sit here and not, as much as we do say the players suck, we're still more focused on the leadership in the clubhouse and if this guy is competent enough to do it, instead of focusing all of our attention on the construction of this team, which is ultimately.
Time out for a second. There's nothing you can do about that in season. If you want to compete for a title this year, okay?
No. I'm not. I'm saying that what I'm saying for the reason why they keep him in place is because we get to then blame the manager.
Can't do what in season?
He was
Fire
going to
your
say,
general manager.
I was
okay.
I was not implying that at all.
Talking.
No, so it's exactly right. You can't do that midseason at this point. So let's get over that.
September.
Trust me, I want Cashman gone more than anybody, but let's get over it. What's the next best move? Firing Aaron Boone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Give me something different. Let me see a different leader here. I'm sick of talking about Aaron Boone because I've become indifferent now. This is what it is. We're not getting anything more out of him. This is it, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it.
Yes, Tilly, that is a Creed poster. Are you new here?
Okay.
And no, not the band, because I'll tell you a funny story real quick. When that movie came out, I told my wife we were going to see Creed, and she goes, I never even heard you listen to one of their songs.
I was actually going to text you the other day that they're going back on tour if you wanted to get tickets.
I'd go see him. I don't care. I'm
What
not.
if you were like, what if she's like, what do you really want to do for your birthday? I really want to go see Creed.
And then
And then
I'm
she got
getting
you
a
Creed
meeting.
tickets.
And I got a meet and greet with Scott Stapp.
Whatever the fuck they sing.
So here's my last thing.
Arms wide
Take
open.
me higher. This isn't the Rocky spinoff.
Here's my thing. Do you want to know how you avoid having montages of the same guy saying the same thing over and over again? Yes.
You stop putting him in front of your
Do
television
you
screen.
do you want to know why we have so many clips of Aaron Boone sitting in front of the media and saying it's right in front of us?
Because he's been here for 7 years and they haven't won
Because
dick.
just like you hang a fucking cookie in front of a fat guy running towards it, right, and make him run. That's been what's right in front of the Yankees, and they can't catch it now for how many seasons? It's the same thing over and over and over again. So I don't.
There's your delusion right there.
Well, that's
Well, here-
yeah. So ultimately, the Yankees are delusional. Maybe
You want to talk
The
about
Yankees are delusional.
how poorly run this organization is, correct? You want to talk about that?
Hmm.
2 former Aaron Boone bench coaches are now managers, first-time managers in Major League Baseball this year. Joe Espada. There it is.
yes.
Joe Espada in Houston and obviously Mendoza with the Mets. Both those teams were more than 10 games under 500. And look where they are now.
Yep.
Aaron Boone has the exact opposite effect on his baseball teams.
It's a problem.
I mean, if that's not if that doesn't kind of paint the picture there for you, I don't know what does. And you can't tell me that those 2 teams are more talented than the Yankees.
Not even it's not even close.
They're not playing for Aaron Boone, is what
Eh.
it basically is what I feel like. They're just not playing to their capabilities. And then when they are stinking, he cannot pull them up.
So this was my last point because I know we want to move on, but that I'm glad you just said that because my last point was you can blame injury, you can blame depth, you can blame whatever you want, but you have to sit there and ask yourself, the players you're seeing out in the field, are they as bad as they're actually playing? And the answer is no. There is no way the guys that they have that they can put in this lineup, when you have Juan Soto and Aaron Judge,
I do want to say I did miss speak. Espada was not didn't coach under Boone, but he did coach under Girardi. But
wow.
I don't
didn't
think
know that.
I don't know why. I thought he had been here, but again, it doesn't really change the
No, the whole
the argument
point.
is that the Yankees had these guys in their system as bench coaches,
yes.
and they are now managers, and they have been
it's
able
not
to
like a coaching
pull.
tree.
Yeah, it's
Right.
not the Belichick coaching tree.
Yeah, it's not. It's not like
So-
that. It's more organizational.
So answer that question, I guess. Is this team with Juan Soto and Aaron Judge in it, even with all the injuries, is this team as bad as the Oakland A's or whoever they're playing with since I think it was since May?
The Angels, actually. I
The
think.
Angels,
The
right?
Angels
Are
and
they
the
as
White
bad as the
Sox.
Angels? Tell me.
No.
Okay, then that's a managerial issue. If they're playing way worse, as bad as the team may be right now with the injuries and some of the depth, they're still not this bad. And they can't seem to pull out of it. That's why I'm blaming the manager, and that's why I want him gone.
Hirsch says dogs pee on Boone's coaching tree.
Maybe.
All right. So before we get into the poll that we ran here, it pains me to do this, but I have to take a swipe at Garrett Cole. He was fucking terrible last night, and it's pretty unacceptable performance from him. And I tweeted this. I think I did that. You can't expect to win 1-0 games, but at the same point, you're handed 2 different leads. You're handed whether 1-0 or 2-1. You're handed a lead twice. You can't give it back. This team needs to win that ball game. This team has to stop losing series. And this team has to stop getting punked in their own building. Throughout this stretch here, the Yankees have split 2 series and won 1. The 1 win was on the road and one of the splits was on the road. So they've only managed to even split 1 series in this at home in this entire thing. If the Yankees had just even played like a 500 team at home and won a series or 2 at home throughout the course of this, they're in first place right now. It's just frustrating watching it. You have such immense trust in a guy like Garrett Cole, and we're all sitting there watching his last couple of starts and saying he is back. He's back to being Garrett Cole. He's back to where you could have the expectations of Garrett Cole, and he got fucking abused last night. And they were making such a big deal about the Lindor at bat, how it gassed him. Shut the fuck up! It gassed him. How many times have we seen Garrett Cole throw 25 pitches in the first inning and then just lights out the rest of the game? It had nothing to do with that.
Cole looked good for a few innings.
He was throwing it. He had retired the first 8 batters in the game, and then he gives up that fucking bomb to the 9-hitter, and it just fell apart from there.
I think he was at 52 pitches in the 4th with 2 outs, and then it kind of spiraled.
And if he would have gotten out of that 3rd inning, if he would have gotten out the 9-hitter, he would have been. I don't know if he would have been perfect. I don't know if he walked anybody, but no hits through 3, and his pitch count would have been under 40. It just unraveled for him, and I don't know what it was too. And then we always talked about this in 2022. It's like, yeah, you look at the overall numbers, and you should be satisfied with it, but you hold Garrett Cole to such a higher standard. And one of the things that always bothered me about him in 2022, that year that he had, it seemed like he was in his own head. He was in his head all the time. And then last night, how many times was he being reminded about the fucking pitch clock, and then he ended up walking Alvarez on a pitch clock violation. It was just so frustrating. Yeah, Travis, it was on Garrett Cole, okay? Because nobody's a bigger Garrett Cole fan than I am. But when you're handed 2 leads, I don't care if they are 1-0 and 2-1, you're handed 2 leads, and this team desperately needs to win a baseball game, and you're the fucking ace of the New York Yankees, you got to find a way to at least get it to your bullpen with the lead.
Yep.
You can't fucking puke all over yourself. I thought Garrett Cole was immune from this stomach bug. It's gotten him too.
Yep.
That was a pure vomit inducing from, as a fan, it made me want to vomit watching him.
We have a super chat from Anthony Garcia, and it's for me to read.
Go ahead.
He said, Booney likey. Booney want rainbow snow cone.
Look, and I'm not attacking Travis here. Chill out. It's 1 game. LOL. No, it's not 1 game.
It's not.
It's not. Come on, guys. Like, it's not 1 game. It's not like the Yankees had been on a 9-game winning streak and then Cole shit the bed last night and they're 5 games up in first place. Are you
the
not
soft mentality? And I'm not.
It's so ridiculous, man.
Yeah,
I get it. As an individual, sure, Garrett Cole is a superstar. He's the best thing that's been on the fucking Yankees. In that moment, what an ace does, it's bigger than him being Garrett Cole and his stats. There's a team that they're playing on that they are supposed to win ball games.
So sick
and they're
of
supposed to beat teams that after they're coming off a loss, the ace comes and he puts the team on his back, and then they build off of it. We're not knocking Garrett Cole, Travis. All right.
No,
it's just it's a matter of building and winning ball games, because that's what we as fans want. We want to see this team in the World Series because we're Yankee fans. That's just how it is.
I hate Garrett Cole so much, right?
This guy's fucking.
I was sniping on eBay Friday night to make sure I fucking had that.
Don't say
I hate Garrett. Don't even start with that.
One bad game. And he keeps saying one bad game he's had.
Nobody's fucking defended Garrett Cole than me. Nobody's been a bigger cheerleader for Garrett Cole than me. But that was a terrible fucking performance last night. I'm sorry.
I'm so sick of the soft fucking mentality of so many people in this fan base, so many fucking people throughout baseball.
How can you watch it that way and enjoy it?
Someone argued with me the other day because I said how garbage this was, and they're like, 60-win team, game and a half out of first place, give me a break. I said, okay, you know what? Because I don't get riled up on Twitter anymore. It's just a cesspool of fucking morons. And I just said, you know what? You stay in La La Land. I'll stay over here in reality, and we can be pen pals once in a while. Because you are a fucking idiot. I'm sorry if that's your argument. You are a lazy, incompetent moron is what you are, who cannot think for yourself. You're not able to think for yourself because all you have to do is go on ESPN and look. And just like Travis, I'm not attacking you, Travis, okay? I get what you're saying. Everyone has a bad game. That's not the fucking point, Travis. The point is this team is in a fucking tailspin. a fucking tailspin. And there's certain guys that you rely on, which is why I gave Judge a hard time not coming through in the 9th inning the other night. The same thing is to be said about the ace. His job is to not only be dominant, but more importantly, you can argue, is to stop the bleeding. CC Sabathia, that's why he was one of the best aces I've ever seen take a mound. That guy, no matter what, stopped the bleeding. And Garrett Cole, for the most part, does. I'm not knocking Garrett Cole, but that's a night that you have to go out there at home against the team that just embarrassed you a couple weeks ago, and you have to fucking stop the bleeding, man. You have to.
The Yankees had to win that game last night. That was, my God, dude. Like, I'm so frustrated right now because it's not one game. That is a game the Yankees have to put in their pocket. They need to stop losing series. Look, nobody wants. Look, we would have came on here tonight and like, oh, 3-3 homestand, but that's like winning the fucking World Series compared to how this team's been playing lately. Garrett Cole was terrible last night. He has to accept the duty of knowing who he is and what that game means to this team. And it's not about the Mets. It's not about the Mets. I don't care that they could have been anybody. Fans are too wrapped up in this fucking Subway Series. It doesn't matter to me who the opponent is. The Yankees have to win baseball games, and they're not doing it against anybody. That's what's so frustrating about it. It's another series where the Yankees, all they needed to do was win one game, and you would have felt decently about them.
But they're a game and a half back. Game and a half back of the O's.
Lost.
Game and a half back of the O's. 2 months ago, left with few trades they could do. Can
And
change,
Edwin,
turn
he's
it
not,
around.
he's not soft, bro. Garrett Cole's not fucking soft, dude. He had a bad game last night, but he has to understand, like, it's unacceptable for him to pitch like that. But he's not fucking soft. He's not a faux ace. He's not Fugazi. Like, come on, like, let's keep things in context here.
Hold on. Travis said they can change it around. Look, Travis, I'm not trying to fucking attack you here, man.
No, but
I'm
he's
just
regurgitating.
But
things.
yes, exactly.
You're a regurgitator.
They can change it around. Red Sox up next in Fenway. So let's play a game. Gun to your head. What's the series outcome in Fenway coming up? If you had to just based off of the evidence, will the Yankees turn the season around?
They've had good swings. They've had good at bats of late.
Hold on. What's more likely? The Yankees turn the season around, or they get swept and embarrassed in Fenway? Because where I'm at, they get swept and embarrassed in Fenway.
Especially with Nestor taking the ball in one of these games. He couldn't even, I mean, one thing we rely on him for is to pitch well at home. So, I mean, what do you expect?
Couldn't even do that.
Still right in front of us, though, guys. They're one game back behind the O's.
Right there.
If anybody in the entire world with a microphone in front of them that covers this team would be wanting to give Garrett Cole a pass, it would be me. But this team needs to win baseball games. They have to stop the bleeding. And he actively contributed to it last night. That's all I'm saying. He has to be better.
And can we stop using the one game behind the O's as an argument? Because that should get you pissed off that they're a one game behind. They should be well ahead of the Orioles right now if they were a competent 500 ball club.
Orioles
it's
have
not
been
one
awful.
game. They're 3 games behind the Orioles.
I'm quoting fucking Travis here. All right,
because
but like we can't be happy about. Yeah, they are close, but that shouldn't even be the case right now. If they were a competent team that doesn't go from number 1 in the power rankings to dead
Division
last,
would be locked up.
they would be in a comfortable, nice position right now that they deserved after the great start that they had. But they keep throwing away their great starts, and now, yeah, they're in it. Sure, but they could have been in such a better position. I'm sick of this. They're a game behind. Wait in a week when that car is no longer right in front of us, but you hooked the left fucking turn and that car kept going straight. And talk about what's right in front of you there. You're in the middle of the woods.
Fucking a tree.
Yeah.
all right, let's get back on track here because
Sorry.
this
Travis,
is the
sure you're a
thing
good
about
guy.
this is the thing about being live is that we can get triggered by
Yeah,
the
I
chat
just got
sometimes.
totally triggered for the first time in a long. I'm actually kind of thank you, Travis, for reminding me that I have emotion.
But here's the thing, and I saw somebody, I think actually Johnny Lasagna, a teammate here, brought this up. Are the Yankees trying to protect Cole? Because the cutter usage is way up for him, and he's not really throwing the slider as much.
Protect him.
If the elbow,
Well,
Can
you'd
you
imagine the slider and the cutter, right, Chris, are very similar.
can
terms
you
of-
ask the question again? Because I'm on my wife's MacBook here, and someone was calling her. I don't know who.
do you think the Yankees or Cole himself is trying to protect the elbow by throwing less sliders?
For Cole, and what's
It
his
seems that
cutter?
the cutter usage is up.
Now, I mean, to be honest with you, the cutter and the slider motion are very, very similar. It's the cutter and the slider. It just really depends on how you're holding it, but the motion is different than a curveball, where you're on a curveball, you're kind of rolling your wrist over.
Or
And
maybe he's
and
throwing
pulling
more
down.
cutters and less fastballs. I don't know. I forget what I was.
Well, to your point though, a slider and a cutter you finish the same, where you're kind of throwing it like a fastball, and then at the end you're pulling your wrist down, and that can pull on the tendon in your elbow. So if his cutter usage is up, then I think that would suggest that the slider usage being down doesn't have to do with them protecting the elbow. I mean, the slider probably does affect it a little more, but it's still the same motion.
So AJ Puck, which was a guy the Yankees may or may not have been interested in, got dealt to the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Who?
AJ Puck.
pitched into a 4.3 ERA this year, 44 innings pitched, 45 strikeouts, and a whip of 1.34.
Yeah, you look at those numbers and you're like, eh, but then you look at the guys in his bullpen and you're like, oh.
Oh, yeah.
That's
What the
why, like,
fuck?
somebody had reported that the Yankees and Cubs might be talking Mike Tauchman and Nico Horner, and then you look at those numbers and you're like, oh, that's gross. And then you look at the guys that they would be replacing, you're like, okay, that's better. Like, this is the situation that we're in right now.
Wasn't that a guy, though, that had did Puck have a good series against the Yankees last year?
He might have. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
something
think you're right.
Oh, man, dude, I swear I feel like I really wanted the Yankees to get him last year. But then I guess, that's not going to
All right,
fucking
so
happen.
because we're running long here and we got to get to the poll here.
Yeah.
Are you worried about Garrett Cole?
No,
Not at all.
no. He's earned the right to really not be worried about Garrett Cole.
Am I
Look.
out of bounds for what I said about him?
Absolutely not.
No, not at all.
Again, we say it all the time. We're the kings of it. Two things can be true at once.
That's right.
All right, so this is kind of the thing I wanted to talk about here tonight, but got sidetracked as usual. Okay. The trade deadline is coming up on July 30th. What are the Yankees going to do here? Obviously, there's a lot of holes on this team. How are they going to plug them? We don't know. Do you want the Yankees to even plug those holes? Because if I can get this Wi-Fi to work here, what should the Yankees' top priority be as we approach the trade deadline? And there are 4 choices: corner infielder, bullpen, starting pitching. And I put in here because people apparently want this. They want the team to sell. And 64% corner infielder, and then finishing in second place with 21% is selling at the trade deadline. Bullpen was 8%, and then starting pitching was 7%. Before we get into what they need most, do you think the Yankees should, first of all, before we even get into what they might need most, do you think the Yankees should be buyers at the trade deadline, or do they need to blow this thing up? I never thought I would even want to ask that question, but after last night, even I'm starting to question whether or not this team can even be a 500 team the rest of the way. It's gotten that bad. And I'm going to say this right off the bat. I'm not advocating for them to sell. They're way too close and in a playoff position. And I think it would be the fucking height of stupidity to do so. When you have Garrett Cole and Aaron Judge and still in their prime of their careers. Okay. But it's a question that should be asked. Do you think the Yankees should pull the plug on this season?
So I thought about this a lot. and this is the only way I think to answer the question. The last time they sold was 2016, and
They
we've
weren't
never,
nearly in a firm playoff position like they are right now.
No, I understand. I'm just speaking of the actual selling and the pieces we got back. And it's done us no good. None. I mean, really, if you really think about it, from 2016, what did we get out of that? Nothing. The players that we got that were supposed to be these superstars, we released for nothing. I'm not necessarily sitting here and saying if they buy with what's out there that it's going to change anything at this point anymore either. I'm not sitting here saying
Well,
they
you
have
can't
to.
do nothing.
I understand. Hold on. I'm getting to my point.
Okay.
So I'm not sitting here saying realistically, I don't believe that there's anything this team can do at this point because I've been saying it for how many seasons now, man? We've been doing this since 2017. This team will not win under this regime. I just don't believe they can, and I hope I'm wrong.
They're 3 behind the Orioles, and they're 3 up on Kansas City and Boston. So I mean,
Disgusting.
that's where they are right now. They don't have a big. It's not like you look at these wild card standings and
No.
can say to yourself with the way the Yankees are playing that they're guaranteed to get into the postseason
That was
because
about 7.5 a month ago.
Minnesota's a game behind them, and then tied for the 3rd spot are Kansas City and Boston, and the Yankees are only 3 up on them. If the Yankees have a really shitty weekend up in Boston. They could find themselves looking into the postseason right now.
Yeah.
That can absolutely happen.
Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at here. What I'm looking at right now does not resemble anything close to a World Series caliber team. Nothing close. And at that point, when you have Juan Soto on a walk year where he's going to be a free agent, you might say to yourself, maybe you blow it up. But here's the problem. The guy who's going to blow it up, I don't trust to do anything anyway. So just like
McGruber blowing up a
Right.
fucking
You're
thing
right.
of dynamite.
Just like how Steinbrenner continues to double down on Brian Cashman, I think the only logical move at this point is for the Yankees to continue doubling down and do whatever they can, because the alternative doesn't get you anything. At least if you go for it, there's still a little bit of a chance. So what I'm trying to tell you is, at this point, I'm kind of indifferent, which is really fucking sad. But you know what? You have to go for it. There is no excuse.
And people
You
Go
can't
ahead, I'm
sell.
sorry. And
You-
people in the comments on that tweet said, "We have nothing to sell." Well, you do have things to sell. You obviously have Juan Soto, and you can
Juan Soto, that's all you
replenish.
need.
You can replenish your farm system with Juan Soto. Okay, and maybe there's not other big name things out there, but when you're selling, you do things like trade Tommy Kahnle. You do things like trade Luke Weaver. You do things like trade. I don't. Is there anybody on offense that they could trade? I'm trying to think of it. You could trade a Nestor Cortez. You know, these are things that you do when you're selling. And no, it's not going to change. Soto would. I mean, Soto would change. Soto
You
would
don't have
change.
much to sell, but if you have a fucking nice shiny diamond, you don't
Soto
need
would,
anything else to
Soto
sell.
would change the farm system. He would definitely replenish your
I
farm
can't believe
system.
we're
But
having this conversation right now.
you know what, bro? That's what last night's game meant, though.
No,
Yeah.
it's not an invalid conversation. I just can't believe we're
It's
having it after the start that
disgusting
they
that we
had. It's
have
just
to have
every
it,
year,
yeah.
every year we have this such false optimism. And then this year there was that stretch where they fell off, but then they picked it back up even better right after, and we were all right back on it. And I
Right
asked you, I'm
after
like,
the
I don't know.
Orioles
And I
series.
go, boys, do you think is this gonna just happen all over again? We were all like, I don't know. I think they're back. They're good.
Yeah. This
But
has
no,
been way
here we
worse.
are. We're back here again. It's July 25th, 2024, and it feels like we're traveling back time 2 fucking years ago because it's the same.
Yeah. You
Shit,
can
man.
actually argue that this
Every
team
year.
over this stretch has been more frustrating than they were last year.
Yeah,
Maybe
this
it's because of
stretch-
the expectations.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because Juan Soto is now in this lineup.
Very similar. I mean, look at these lineups they're pumping out, Chris. I mean, they're exactly like your Francisco, Frenchie Cordero, Frenchie, whatever the fuck his name
Oh,
is.
Jesus Christ.
Well, this is the problem.
Um,
Going back to now, you brought the lineups. Like Boone completely abandoned what was working, and I get it that Stan's hurt, Rizzo's hurt, but he completely abandoned the lineup consistency once these injuries happen. Pick your 9 best guys and go with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
No,
So
and
where are you at?
they can't sell, dude. They
They can't. It doesn't make
can't.
sense.
They can't.
But do you agree with me though that you're also, a month and a half ago, you were looking at a team that you were going, couple pieces. We said it here, couple pieces. You're looking at it. Now you're looking at a team where you're like, this organization is nowhere close. And so it's almost like you're like, I don't really know what moves are going to actually solidify this team at this point, but they have to do it. There's no other option.
What Boone said it. I don't want to give him credit for anything, but he said it the other day. He said, I can't worry about what might happen, what might not happen, because it's out of our control. We might like something, and then the other team it doesn't matter. Like, we have to worry about the guys in this locker room.
Yeah,
They
which is bullshit, because what was his quote that we played on here, that other teams are struggling? So, like, pick a poison here. Or do you care
but
about
what
the
he's
other
saying
teams?
is that, and this is my point too, is that it doesn't matter who they bring in here. It's not this is not a month ago where one guy can put them over the top. The guys in this locker room have to play better.
Yes.
They have to be. You're not adding the missing piece to a team now. You have a team that is just completely falling on their fucking face, and they have to start playing better, because it doesn't matter. You could resurrect Mickey Mantle from the dead and give him a potion that turns him into 1956 Mickey Mantle and put him in the middle of this lineup. They're still not winning shit until they turn it around.
Yeah,
He's not. He wouldn't turn. I mean, you're not. I know I'm being exaggerating there, but a player that Mickey Mantle in '56 had one of the greatest seasons in the history of baseball. Now imagine putting that with Judge and Soto, and still not being able to confidently say that this team can win a title. That's how bad
you want
they
to know
are.
why? You want to know why? You bat him after Soto. No one's even pitching to him anyway.
Well, why not? You would
Because
have
there's no fucking depth.
Well, you could pitch. Okay, now you're going to tell me they're not going to pitch to Mantle if Judge is hitting behind him?
No, I said if you're not hitting anyone behind Mantle, if you're hitting him, I meant after Judge. Sorry, you know what I meant.
So you'd still have only 2 hitters because Judge would
Exactly. You could just walk the 3 of them, load the bases, and then just pitch to the rest of the. Here's another thing, though. Yes, the players do have to play better, but also as a manager, don't bat JD Davis cleanup.
Don't bat JD Davis. You were just
Don't
gonna
bat
stop.
Yeah, you're right. And don't I mean, like, there are things that you can do too, Boone, to help. But also, yes, these guys have to be better. They have to be. Verdugo is a much better baseball player than this.
Well, we talked about
Torres is.
yeah, we
Right.
talked about that last
Right.
episode. They're not even in the same vicinity of their career numbers.
It's crazy. And maybe that's half on them. Maybe it's also the guy leading the team, the manager. We'll never know because nothing's going to change.
Yeah, and that's why I think it ultimately, and I didn't, and a lot of the majority of the comments were like, well, fire Boone, nothing's going to change without, and I get it. How many times are we going to say it, though? Like, I want to have a different conversation on here for once.
No, Joan, SGR does timestamps for the show, so that's what.
What did Joan say?
Joan wants to know if everyone's boring you. I said, no, you're
Boring
time-
me?
Yeah, you do timestamps.
Come on, Joan. Get out of here.
Come on, Joni.
Don't you have a
Fucking tired,
grandmother named
Joan.
Joan?
Yes,
Yeah.
Nanny Joan.
Is that my grandma?
Not
Come on,
mine.
Joan. All right. Do you want me to smile more too?
Ryan is
We love
fucking
Joan.
triggered.
Yeah, I'm
tonight.
not. I am a little fucking
Travis-
triggered.
Travis-
Like Joan, I actually really like you, Joan.
It was Travis, Joan. Don't take
give
it
me
personally.
don't give me that. I'm bored here. I fucking I love this podcast. I just the team makes me look like this because I just don't. I'm fucking
we're-
fed up with it. But no, I'm not bored. I'm actually
Trav.
very entertained by what I've listened to some of these points that we're breaking down tonight.
Joni was
Joan.
joking, dude. She said LOL.
Yeah, maybe I'm also joking too. Maybe
Travis
this
got
is an
kicked-
act.
Travis got kicked out of the chat, if that makes you feel better. I think.
Oh God.
Maybe
love
I'm
you.
not
We
being
love you,
too
Joan.
serious too. Joan,
We love you, Joan.
fucking love Joan. She's one of my favorite people to chat to on here. I'm just fucking around.
Oh God. I mean, we'd
Right
be
in front
paying.
of us, SGR.
We'd be paying $200 for
It's
therapy,
poorly.
right? If we went to see a
Yeah, I
psychiatrist,
got
but
a
instead we
fucking
just
bad back. All right.
we just
lean
bang
on
it
me.
out here on with the chat. I don't. All right, so let's talk about this. We're not selling. We're in agreement. We're not selling, right?
Correct.
No, you're right. Agree.
If you're only adding one piece to this team, where are you adding it?
Third base.
See, I disagree.
So do
Only
I.
because no first base, but I know that they're not going to do anything at first base because Anthony Rizzo's coming back, and there's your trade piece for
The guy,
first.
I haven't even heard anything on Rizzo.
I
Do you think
disagree
they'll
with
shut him
both.
down? So it's
I
got
just
to be
haven't-
for me. It has to be a corner infielder. Has to be.
I'm somewhere else.
If it's pitching, I just can't explain it. I can't defend it because every year we think it's the pitching, and every single year when it comes down to it, it's the big moments that offensively this team never comes through. So it could be the pitching, whatever, but it's the offense is always the thing that gets them out.
I don't disagree
point.
with that point, but I disagree with I think the Yankees are in a lot of trouble with this bullpen. A lot of trouble. I don't know. Again, like I don't know that if there's a game changer out there. I was looking at it because I know that the Yankees are interested in India, and I'm like, okay, let's work a package deal and get Alexis D. He's been fucking terrible this year. His ERA is like 4.5.
But here's the counter argument, because I'm with you, Christian, with bullpen, as tempting as that argument was by SGR just now, because I do obviously this team needs a fucking bat
But
here.
but this is what I want to say real quick. And I don't want to be like Cashman, like, well, if I told you I can add a former MVP to this lineup, that would be, what would you say to that? And being Giancarlo Stanton. But the Yankees are going to have internal options for them to improve their offense
Right.
in Dominguez and Stanton.
So
Don't you
where's
think
the-
they might
if you
have
one
internal?
move?
Well, what about the starting pitchers being slotted into the bullpen?
I was thinking
as
that
far
too.
as a postseason run goes. Luis Heel, it seems like they're kind of like, all right, we kind of are sucking right now. We can't all this fucking trajectory. He's got to be pitching every fifth day. So when that day comes, when the postseason hits, and you want to bump anyone, it's going to be Luis Heel that ends up becoming a Michael King type in the postseason.
then you
I
need
think
to-
they have it internally, guys.
But then you need to get a starting pitcher.
No,
Yeah,
you have 4 starting pitchers to go out there, and you can't really do anything about it because you're paying Carlos Rodon $27
Well, yeah,
million.
he's
You're
one of
paying
them.
Marcus Stroman $18 million. Nestor Cortez is actually a serviceable pitcher at home, and obviously Garrett Cole. And then you have Clark Schmidt. That's 5 guys, with only one of them being Nestor Cortez, that you have an argument to kick him out of the rotation. But the rest, there's no justifying taking them out without a trade. That's
So-
Nestor's got to be traded if you want to do anything. That's the only person to move.
So I'm just gonna play devil's advocate. I'm not even gonna, because
And
I was
forgot, I'll be
bullpen.
honest, I forgot about Schmidt is starting to work his way back. So maybe he'll be ready in a month, maybe.
It's like we traded for a starting pitcher with Schmidt back.
But
So
where's
I
the
was
internal
bullpen.
Okay, go ahead.
I was bullpen, but I need to ask you this now because I thought of this as you were talking. Just like I don't think one bat really moves the needle too much. Yeah, maybe when you bring back Stanton and Dominguez is healthy, whatever.
Mm.
Is there really one bullpen arm that does it for you either?
Well, what do you guys always say? Who's going to be closing these games no matter what?
Yeah, well, that's my argument here is this team gonna stop being stubborn and putting Clay Holmes out there.
Well, can they acquire Pete Fairbanks? I mean, is that a
Oh.
guy of that level? Can they get him?
I mean, Fairbanks isn't having like his greatest season right now, but
You-
you put
would you-
him in pinstripes and you are taking it any day of the week. But my problem is, do they do the right thing with him? Yeah, I just feel like this team is so
that's
fucking
another
stubborn.
That's another guy you talk about. There's nobody to sell. You can. Clay Holmes is in a walk year. I know we hate him, but another team would take him and be smart enough not to put him in the ninth inning.
Hey,
Yeah.
I would not be against looking into moving Clay Holmes. You can actually get something for him.
They would never do it in a million years.
No, because he's one of those diamonds that they found that they would not ever really want to get rid of.
The double down Yankees. That's what I'm going to call them from now on. This team, and they're so stubborn. All they do is double down. Clay Holmes could blow 10 games in a row, and he's their closer. They're right around the corner. It's right in front
Yeah,
of Clay
he's a
Holmes.
free agent. Someone's asking.
He is
a free agent. Yeah.
Is a free
Clay
agent.
Holmes could give up 10 runs in the blink of an eye, and Aaron Boone will tell us that his stuff looked really fresh and sharp, and he just missed a couple pitches.
Sliders were actually really moving there. He's right there with.
And
the
he's
slider.
right around the corner. This is the double down Yankees. I just don't see them making a smart move like that.
No, look, with Clay Holmes, I don't think the Yankees, if the Yankees are staying in this, which I believe that they are, I don't think they need to trade Clay Holmes. I think they need to move him out of the ninth inning. I think Clay Holmes can still be a valuable piece to this bullpen, just not the last piece.
Right, but it's not going to change.
Well, that's
That's
like
on
you said,
them. That's a them problem.
We talked about this when they were when the fans were booing DJ LeMahieu. Were they booing DJ? Or they booing the Yankee stubbornness? The Yankees are so fucking stubborn, bro. It's like dealing with a fucking 4-year-old that doesn't know any better, but thinks that they do, and they fight you tooth and nail in the dumbest shit because they're 4 and don't know any better. And yes, I'm speaking from a personal experience that happened the other day. That's what it's like with dealing with Brian Cashman.
No, I'm right. You're wrong.
I was telling my daughter the other night, she wanted to bring this toy into the tub, and I'm like, no, you cannot. It's not made for the tub.
But
Yeah,
it's
it
my
is.
toy. And
Yes, it is.
I want
Listen
to.
listen
I
to
want
me.
to take a bath.
It's not made for
Toy.
the tub,
Yeah, but it is.
but it is. Okay, so you get tired of arguing
Yeah.
with them, and
Yeah,
then
but
the
I'm
toy
going to
gets,
do it though.
and then what happens? The toy gets ruined in the tub.
All right,
Meltdown occurs, and what do you sit there and say? What did I tell you? And that's what it's like.
Maybe you were right about the toy. The plastic did not hold up. We need to do better. We will try to find something that we thought we had something good in that toy. It turns out we didn't. We'll go back and find a new thing to buy.
And whether it's on a lower level, and I don't mean this because closing games isn't important, but like on a lower level, like force feeding Clay Holmes as the closer, or on a grander level of force feeding Aaron Boone as your manager, it's just the pure stubbornness out of Brian Cashman that has affected this team in a very negative way.
And
yeah,
Aaron Boone.
what?
And Aaron Boone's stubbornness.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's a trickle down effect, but
yeah.
And this is what it comes down to. And I get it, like if there's one move I could make as for the Yankees, I'd give Aaron Boone the fuck out of there. I would, but it's not. I didn't want to take the conversation there. So, because I think nothing at this point, based on what we've seen since June, I take June 13th. That's my day of when this really went downhill.
Yeah.
Since June 13th, we've seen so much over the last 5 weeks here of how bad this team is that I don't believe anything truly changes with Aaron Boone still writing the names in the lineup. That somebody else has to do it. And I don't care if it's Brad Ausmus, Mike Harkey, Matt Blake, Shelly Duncan, the homeless guy on fucking the Major Deegan Expressway. It doesn't matter. It just can't be Aaron Boone. But it's going to be Aaron Boone. So we're all in agreement. We're not selling. Ryan, you want a corner infielder more than anything, right?
Yeah, I just want an offensive
can't
piece,
argue
and,
that.
and
No,
you're
no, I
not going to
can't
get an
argue.
outfielder, I guess.
I don't think they're looking for. I haven't heard the Yankees connected to that many outfielders, and mainly
Only because
I think,
Dominguez is coming
yeah,
back.
Dominguez is coming back, and I
We
think
didn't
that,
think that was happening.
and I think that
Mhm.
as much as we might be done with Verdugo, I don't know if they're done with Verdugo.
No, I don't see them selling Verdugo. I don't know. I think it's a more likely opportunity to get there's flashier names out there in the infield versus the bullpen. There's not a lot of names of guys that you're going to be able to get for the
Yeah.
price that they're going to be willing to give.
And here's the thing: when Dominguez does come back, are we all in agreement? When Dominguez is healthy, he needs to be in this lineup.
Absolutely, no question.
No question, right? Now, that doesn't mean you have to be done with Verdugo by any means, because this bench is terrible. You're telling me now that Dominguez can be playing in the outfield and Verdugo is off your bench, a lefty off your bench.
Verdugo, sorry to cut you off, but Dominguez can play the field, right? When he does come back, his arm's good to go
Yeah,
and
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
All right,
He's
He had
good.
been playing center field before he got
Yeah,
hurt.
okay. I thought so.
So Verdugo now being a bench piece, now we're adding not just a better guy into this lineup, but we're adding way more depth onto this bench as a lefty, as a guy who, when he's right, can put the ball in the air and do some damage. It's a no-brainer for me. And let me tell you this. I say I'm done all the time, but I promise you, you have my word. If Dominguez gets healthy and then they let him rot again, which I really don't believe they'll do, I believe he will be up here immediately. I am truly done. I'm not going to be played to be a fool.
What is Bob talking about? Guys are tired of Judge. Bob, you have to. We love
Bob,
you.
go
You're
to bed.
you're one of the
Bob,
OGs.
we love you, Bob. Go to bed.
You're definitely one of the OGs, Bob. But I don't know about that comment there,
I love
buddy.
Bob.
But anyway,
What about Bob? Great
okay.
movie.
What about him? Okay.
Okay.
Okay, today we're gonna watch What About Bob? Okay, and break it down. Okay. Okay. Bill Murray. Okay. Richard Dreyfuss. Okay.
So Pete just dropped this in the chat. Today's July 25th, and we at NYYU have already gotten more subscribers this year than in all of 2023.
Wow.
Wow.
Amazing. And that's fucking Pete,
Whole
man.
year.
Pete,
Yeah,
Jira,
Pete.
everyone behind the scenes.
For sure, Jared, too.
Okay, Jira. Okay, you gotta mention. Don't get
Absolutely.
political,
The
but you gotta
counterpart,
mention.
okay.
You gotta mention the women also. Okay.
Okay, you have to. Okay.
Okay.
Um,
Poem strings. Okay. Poem strings.
Oh God. I don't know, man. I guess all I'm saying is I do think the Yankees need bullpen help more than anything. But if Tarek Skubal's available, he gets traded to the Orioles, I'm gonna put I'm live on camera. I'm gonna put my head through this fucking wall here.
All right, let's do it. Pop, pop.
So the Yankees. I mean, you mentioned this earlier with the guy in the chat. Like, what do you expect out of the Yankees? They're going to be in Boston. I don't even know, man. Like, what?
Someone else said they expect Alex Cora to outmanage Aaron Boone.
Oh, you expect
Absolutely.
it? What do you mean you expect it? It's gonna. I mean, like the.
I want to look up who said
It's
that.
a
I'm gonna scroll
no-brainer,
back.
man.
That was a good.
It's a no-brainer.
That's like asking LT what if he likes cocaine or
Yeah.
or sacking quarterbacks. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my God. So they're in Boston this weekend, and it's the final series before the trade deadline. Let me ask you this: is there anything that can happen this weekend, good or bad, at one extreme or another, that changes how the Yankees are going to handle the trade deadline?
Maybe if Glaber has like a crazy good series, like he just keeps hitting dingers, then maybe you.
No, I mean if they get swept, are they pulling the plug on this?
Oh, okay, my mistake.
Or something like that.
I feel like it's too close to the deadline, and they're just they're too much in the middle of it. That it's just you're in almost like a dead zone period here, where if this is the worst possible time to play the way they're playing because it's kind of too early or too early in the season, but too late in the deadline to really make that decision.
They could be 8 games out of first place, and it still makes no sense for them to sell. Other teams maybe, but for the Yankees, makes 0 sense. I'm telling you, they have to double down. There's no other option here.
So the Yankees are going to start the series with the Red Sox on Friday night, 7:10, road nester. Speaking of vomiting all over yourself, against Brian Bello, who's not having a good year, but always seems to dominate the Yankees. So I don't know what. Again, I want to be as optimistic as I can be, but it is what it is here. And then 7:15 on Saturday, Fox, Marcus Stroman against Cutter Crawford. Now, I wanted to say this because I read this yesterday. This game is nationally televised on Fox, correct?
Yeah.
But it is not the exclusive national game. Other markets will get another game. Do you know what the other game is?
Braves Mets.
The Chicago White Sox versus the Seattle Mariners.
Good.
That is the B game.
Good. I'd rather watch that probably.
No, you wouldn't.
Are they playing in Iowa?
Yeah, like is it like a specialty game?
If it was, then why would they wouldn't have taken the Yankees? They would have just
Yeah,
that's the other
right.
that's
No,
the other game.
Switch over.
And then to close out the series on Sunday, ESPN, which thank God I don't have to watch this game because I'll be on vacation at this point. I'll follow on my phone because I cannot listen. ESPN has the worst. And this is
I'm so done with them.
And this is taking into account how much I hate John Smoltz. They have the worst broadcast in baseball. The worst.
Yeah, at least Smoltz has some, his baseball knowledge.
Well, it's just the
it'll come out
broadcast
every
in
now and
general.
again.
The broadcast
the
in general.
the production is.
Oh,
really,
I gotta
really,
listen to
really
fucking
bad.
players being interviewed mid.
I do like the sounds though. I like the sound of the bat. I know they like hype. They do it a little bit
I like
much,
that
but I
too.
do like that. I'll give them that one thing.
Small thing.
Look, here's the thing,
Very
right? Like, this is nothing
minuscule.
against Jose Iglesias or the Mets. And I tweeted this, and Met fans are coming at me. You're jealous, cry more. Shut the fuck up,
Yeah,
loser.
we're jealous. We're
Fuck you.
jealous.
It doesn't matter. I complain about this every time the Yankees are on ESPN. It's an
I
absolute.
complain about it when when fucking Aaron Boone's being interviewed.
It's a fucking joke to have a player mic'd up and have to watch him in a split screen while the game is going on. If you want to mic him up, fine. I don't need to watch him in half the screen.
How about we get rid of announcers and we mic up like 5 players, right? And all you're listening to is them talking.
That
You're
would be
too much of a
I would-
liability.
I know, but then you maybe have a viewer discretion warning.
Maybe
why
you
not?
do
Don't watch it.
HBO.
Yeah,
HBO's
I'm
been
telling.
streaming.
I swear, man, the best one of my favorite things is to watch a mic'd up player. But when you're getting interviewed in the middle of the game, you're making the game a joke at that point. That it's not serious enough that you can literally be in the middle of an
It's like
interview
theater.
while you're playing a game.
Well, look at this, right? Unless I actually missed it, they were interviewing Boone, and then I see Cole throw a pitch, and then Ravitch goes 3-0, and I was like, where'd the other fucking 2 pitches go? Did they just completely miss 2 pitches of the at bat interviewing Aaron Boone?
Yeah, a guy that we
That's
definitely don't need to hear more from.
Crazy.
How is that good? How is that a good presentation?
And one of the best videos that they ever put out was a mic'd up moment in the All-Star game. It was Nestor throwing to who was his catcher in that All-Star game.
Was it
Christian.
Trevino? It was
Yeah, and that was just a moment of them listening in on the perspective of a pitcher and a catcher.
And it was
That's
the
what I
All-Star
wanna
game,
hear.
so it was
Yeah,
cool.
And right. But like even if it's not, they don't need to talk back to me. You just pick it up on a mic and you say, "Oh, that was a cool moment last inning. Let's fucking play
Like
it
when they
now."
had Judge and Soto mic'd up at the All-Star game, it didn't bother me. You want to know why? Because that game doesn't fucking mean anything. It's the
Right.
All-Star game.
Right.
Like, this is a professional game here that counts in the standings. I don't need to see Jose Iglesias tell me the fucking history of the "Oh My God" song. And again, it has nothing to do with the Mets. I don't give a flying fuck who it is. It's
Right.
pointless. I'm trying to watch a baseball game. Give me the what do they call them? Like the personality profile. Give me that in between innings. Give me that in the pregame show. Once the first pitch is thrown, I want to watch the game. The only thing I want to hear out of the announcer is break down the at bat, break down the fucking play, and call the game. That's it.
That's it.
Jose, how'd you come up with "Oh my God"? Well, my dad was, it's really about me coming over here illegally. I shouldn't say that. That was wrong, but it was about. Well, he's the one that said it. He said, "Oh, I came over here from Cuba."
He said it then.
He said it. I mean,
He fucking escaped.
He said it, you spread it.
okay. But anyway, like that's great. It's a great story. I'm happy that he's having success.
Yeah,
I'm
me
happy
too.
that
Oh,
the
oh my
song,
God.
but oh my God, like I don't need to hear about it during the baseball game. Like that's it. So to close it out here, Rodon's taking on Houck to close out the series, and that's basically it. I mean,
We got the cancel Christian hashtag.
that doesn't matter. You guys don't have to hear me for a week anyway. So
Whatever.
this is, what happens when the Yankees they do this. This is what happens.
This is the show you get.
CC. That's the new CC. Cancel
Okay.
Christian. That's your new nickname.
He came here to live the American dream. Okay.
Gonna get canceled.
Gonna be
So-
huge.
Gonna be great. A lot of people getting canceled.
All right, so let's take the show home here. It's enough out of all of us tonight. So we want to thank everybody for their continued support of the NYYST podcast and NYY Underground. So make sure you're leaving us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, and make sure you subscribe while you're there, and make sure that you are subscribed to NYY Underground here on YouTube. Okay, thank you very much for listening and watching episode 408 SGR.
Go Yanks.
Chris, say goodbye.
Top 10 radar, yeah, we on your radar. Never miss, dog, and that's on occasion. Yeah, we on your radar. Yeah.
Hey, look, top floor lifestyle, chef and boy, I'm cooking up. Way too high, ain't coming down. You see me if you looking up. I don't really talk too much, I show them run the numbers up. Lucky that I'm showing up, I'm going off, they know what's up. Wrist too silly, yeah. Numbers crack the billy. Yeah, don't need no dilly. I'm too fresh, I feel like really, yeah. Feel the duffels up the sign, I need a million. I'm about to take off, and I know that I'm on they radar.
Top 10